Everybody run away. Bam, bam, bam. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. In this video, I am going to be talking about light trails photography. So we're going to be going over how you actually take them, and then just a couple of tips that I've found whilst actually taking them and researching online, and we're going to condense this into one pretty short, pretty concise video. So starting off, how do you take a light trail image? So what you want to do, I'd recommend you do this at night because you need the less amount of equipment. But we're going to go over the equipment really quickly. So you obviously need a camera and your favorite lens of choice. So if you only have a kit lens, then it looks like you're using a kit lens. And you also need a tripod. Now, the reason for this is there is no way, no matter how steady your hands are, that you are going to be able to hold a camera steady for a few seconds. Okay? Now, a light trail image is also known as a long exposure image, because what you're going to do is you're going to set your shutter speed, longer than a second or so you get some really interesting motion blur. Now, this links into video and time lapses a little bit, so I have done, or I'm going to be doing, depending on when you're watching this video, a separate video about time lapse specifically, and also we'll cover hyperlapses as well in that video. So make sure to click the little I and the little card if you want to check out that video. But moving back to photography and long exposure photography or light trail photography. So you're going to look for some road that has some cars driving along it, preferably at night time, so you can get some lovely contrast, and also it's a lot easier for you to actually not need an MD filter. Now, those of you who do want to do kind of more long exposure images in daytime, all you will require is you need to check on the bottom of your lens for a little number, and then you need to get a neutral ND filter for your lens. This will basically allow you to darken your image beyond what you can do in camera, because it's basically going to be an MD filter that you put on front of your camera's lens to make all of the images that you take a lot darker, which means you can leave your shutter speed a lot further open and leave it a lot open for longer. But if you do that without a MD filter, all you're going to get is a white square or a white image, because all it's going to do is it's going to have so much light, it's not going to be able to capture anything. You're going to blow out all of the highlights and you're going to have a wonderful white square. Trust me, been there, tried it. So get an MD filter if you want to do this in the day. I don't actually have one at the moment, so I'm going to be that's one of the pieces of equipment I'm actually going to be looking into getting very soon, so we can up the time-lapse game and such like that. So moving on to actually how you take them. So you want to choose a specific location. I like to scout mine a little bit before, so I will give you a couple of examples in previous videos that I've actually taken some. I remember one specifically, and if you're in the area of Salisbury, there is a couple of nice places across some of the ring roads that you can actually take some long exposure photography. Now, what you're going to look for is some nice composition where your leading lines are basically going to be your long exposure photography, and the lines that the light actually makes. Now, the most things that I'm going to be talking about at the moment is mainly going to be the kind of photography where you use car lights. Now, what a long photography or a long exposure image actually is you're going to tell your camera to leave the shutter open for, say, 2 seconds. Okay, so a car with its headlights will drive past your frame for those 2 seconds. Now, if you just took a normal image, you would capture the car. Now, because you're taking a long exposure image of that, all you're going to get is the light which you've seen going across the image. I'll put some examples of ones I've taken on the screen. Now, in my opinion, the best kind of weather to actually do this is just after it's rained. Now, there is a couple of things you can cheat the system, which we'll go on to in a minute, but what you want to do, the reason why it's better to do it in rain or just after it's rained, is you get the reflection on the floor as well, and you can really bokeh out those reflections, because you can really tune your aperture down a level. Because you're taking these at night, or because you're really making your image as dark as possible, it means you can have your aperture really wide open, so you can have a wonderful bokeh effect and only have the actual light itself in focus and everything else around it really blurred and lush. And so yeah, so look to using one of your faster lenses or one of your lenses with a lower aperture to get the best results from this technique. And if it hasn't rained, or if it's specifically dry, or it's in a specific place where it is dry, there is ways where you can literally just make there to be water. So what I've done, and I got this from a Peter McKinnon video. I am not claiming that I came up with this. I'm sure he didn't either. I will link his video in the description down below if you're curious and you want to hear more about nighttime photography and things like that. And but we're mainly going to be talking about this because basically what you can do is you can go to your local supermarket. For example, in my case, when I took these pictures, I went to Tesco's. I bought a couple of bottles of water, and all you're going to do is you're going to plan out your shot. So you're going to have your frame, and then you're going to put between your lens and wherever your long exposure imagery or light is going to be, so where the car or where the road is, you are then just going to pour, so there is a puddle, and you're going to make a puddle, and then you will use that and it will make some really nice reflections of the long exposure image or the light trail specifically. And I thank you guys for watching this little tutorial on that. If you would like to see some more kind of basic tutorials on photography and videography and editing tricks and stuff, I'm doing a sort of how to start off on YouTube with DSLR and this kind of filmmaking series, and I've been filming a couple of episodes of that this week as well. The first episode came out on Monday. It was the best settings to use on a DSLR, so if you missed that video, make sure to check out the eye. We also had come out today at the time of recording this, but probably like 3 days ago by the time this comes out, there we also had a editing tutorial, which I'm going to be doing the second episode of hopefully by next week. So if you were interested in that and that was something you'd be interested in, then make sure to also check that. I'll also leave all of these links to these videos in the comment section down below, and the description down below. And there is also a tutorial playlist on the channel as well for your viewing pleasure. I will, as I start doing more photography and videography-esque tutorials, I will split them up, but at the moment I don't actually have enough tutorials to fill up 2 playlists, so we're just going to be having the one. But I would like to thank you guys for watching. I somehow managed to ramble for a while, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video anyway, and I hope it helped out. If you want to send this video to a friend that's maybe getting into photography and wants to try a different new technique and things like that, and feel free to let me know how your long exposure or light trail photography goes and such like that. So it would be lovely to see some of your shots and some of the things that you try out with it. And if you did enjoy the video and you would like to see more videos like it, so tutorials, any of my project work, or any of my little less fun projects of me just messing around and filming stuff and then seeing what I can do in the edit and going from there, then make sure to be subscribed to the channel. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave it with a like. It helps me out a lot, and any constructive criticism is always welcome in the comment section down below. Or if you just have any questions or anything like that, or any videos you specifically want me to do tutorials on, if I know how to do it and I want to do it and I feel like doing a tutorial, I will. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching once again. This outro has taken way too long. I need to shorten them, but I'd like to thank you guys for watching once again, and I will see you in the next video.